welcome to my last video for November and the last video before Bookmas. Today I'm going to be talking about 5 of the books that I've read recently. It's going to be a fairly short video, I think, but first I want to go into a little bit of Bookmas details. I don't know, there's a few things I want to mention. So I put up a little calendar of dates that I thought were going to be happening for Bookmas, knowing full well things can move around, and I'm already planning on moving some things around. So Thursday is the first day of December. It's gonna be the first day of Bookmas. I'm going to be trying my best once again to post every day from the 1st to the 24th, and I have tons of ideas. That shouldn't be a problem. As long as I don't get sick, things should be good. But on Friday the 2nd, I was gonna do Christmas book recommendations, but I never did a live video for November, and I'm not sure if I'm going to for December exactly. So I was thinking maybe of like merging those, doing reading sprints and Christmas book recommendations together, because I don't have a ton of recommendations yet, but I think it would be fun to get inspiration from you guys. And in the live chat, there's always tons of good book recommendations, but if we kept it Christmas specific this time, I think that would be fun. So that won't work for me Friday evening, but it would work for me Saturday evening. So I think I'm going to move my Saturday video, which is supposed to be my book and bookish wish list, to Friday. And then I'm going to do a different video Saturday morning. It's going to be gifts for book lovers. And then Saturday evening, I'm going to do the live/Christmas book recommendations video. So there's actually going to be 2 videos on Saturday. Then I'm not going to do one on Sunday, because that way if people weren't able to make the live, they could watch it on Sunday. So it's kind of like it's a separate video. And then I should be back on track. That's assuming this all actually works out for my real life. I don't have a time for the Saturday live yet. If any booktubers are interested in hosting it with me, if you have book recommendations, let me know. Or even if you don't have a booktube channel, if you want to hop in live and share about Christmas books, we can maybe arrange that. I'm just not sure about my timing for that date, so we'll see what we can get figured out there. Okay, so I think that's all for Bookmas. Oh, one more thing. I am doing a Q&A. What day do I have that scheduled for? Oh, the 18th. So I think that tomorrow, which will be Wednesday, November 30th, I'm going to put up a Q&A on my community tab. So if you go to my profile, there should be a community option in the headings there. Depending if you're on the phone or on a computer, it looks different. And then there will be a Q&A there tomorrow, and you can ask me any questions, bookish, non-bookish. I did do a Q&A, already put one up on Instagram, got a few questions, and I just want to get a bunch of questions compiled, so when that date comes, I'm ready. Okay, so I think that's all for Bookmas stuff. Now let's get on to the books. I had a really good, I think it's been about 2 weeks since my last one. Good reading 2 weeks here. Let's start with the first book I finished. This is Beyond the Clouds, The Girl Who Fell from the Sky. This is a manga, and it's been a while since I've read a manga, I feel like. So this is like I guess a little bit fantasy-esque, because it's a world where I think our main character is a human. He is 16 apparently, although throughout the whole book I thought he was younger until it got to the end where it showed us the characters, and I think they said he was 16. Yeah. So right at the beginning of the book, this girl falls from the sky, and Theo is kind of like an inventor, or he goes to the junk pile, which he calls something, I don't remember now what. It's like a pile of possibilities, or like it's something very optimistic for a garbage heap, and this is actually where he finds her. It's called the Island of Dreams. That's what he calls it. He calls it the Island of Dreams. And he finds this girl there, and she has one wing, obviously had another one, but it broke. And in this world, beings with wings are really valued and sought after, and so he's scared that people are going to be after her, and he doesn't know what has happened. She's obviously wounded, and he wants to help her, and he tries to help make a new wing for her. And I don't know how many volumes are in here, how long this one has been going. So it was originally published in 2018 and then in English in 2020. So this is fairly new compared to a lot of manga. And I really enjoyed it. I would be very interested in continuing the series. I feel like manga is often very dark, and while there are beings hunting her, so like it's kind of like scary a little bit that way, but it's not as dark as a lot of the manga that I've read. So if you are interested in giving it a try, I think this would be a really good one to start with if you've never really done manga. I've read so much of it now that first of all, I don't know how to read graphic novels because I want to read them backwards, because manga is read from right to left. And I'll even noticed myself doing that in a book the other day, trying to read it backwards. So apparently it's really getting into my head. Then once again, last time I shared a book that we read for our homeschool, like not really homeschool. All of us were listening to it during the meals, and we finished book 1 and now we just finished book 2, which is Momentous, Events in the Life of a Cactus. So we follow a girl, she's going into high school in this book. Her name is Avon, and she was born with no arms. And so that comes with a lot of challenges in addition to starting high school. And this book I thoroughly enjoyed. She has a funny take on things. I love her humor. It was a little bit more serious and depressing than the first book because high school is hard. People are mean. She goes through some bullying. People are just generally mean to her, and there's like the whole boy situation. So I liked book 1 better, but I did thoroughly enjoy this one as well. We were all laughing out loud at certain parts. So everyone from like my 9-year-old son to my husband and everyone in between. So we enjoyed it. I also read the first chapter of 9 Christmas books. I don't have them all here right now. I did try a chapter for my patrons. I did a try a chapter vlog / ranked them as I went. So if you're interested in that, you can see that over on Patreon. And I am going to be trying to read some of the ones that ended up being on the top of my list. This is not my order, so don't read them in this order. But I just went and I requested a bunch of books that you guys have, Christmas books that you guys have recommended to me. I didn't read the back. I just went in and read the first chapter and shared some initial thoughts. So some of these will be getting read over the next while, and some of them will be going right back to the library. Then I read 2 fantasy books, which is not normal for me. These are both, I would say, I'm not sure if they're necessarily both teen YA, but close to that age range. And I enjoyed them both. So this one is The Queen's Rising. This one was on my TBR card for so long. I read this one for Books and Lola's challenge because her buzzwordathon for this month was, it had to have Ing, I-N-G, which actually both my fantasy books did, but this one I feel like was the right way. The other way, it was the first 3 letters. But so yeah, we are in a world where our main character, she is just turning 17. Her name is Brianna, and she for the last 7 years has been training to master her passion. So there are a few different passions. There's art, knowledge, drama, I don't remember the rest. And most people pick one at the age of 10, they study it for 7 years, and then they're tested to see if they've mastered it. She changed her passion. She went through all of them, and so she only studied this last one for 3 years. All the other ones she did for a year, so she didn't have nearly as much time. And we meet her kind of when she's ready to be tested for her passion. And it turns out that some other things have been going on in the background. She's never known her father, or who he is, where he's from. I mean, that's not true. She knows he's from the next country, which is known for being ruthless, but she doesn't know anything about him or anything. And that goes into play. This is apparently a duology, and honestly, I gave this book 4 stars, and I feel like the ending was perfect. I do not feel like this needs another book. I feel like it was good enough that I would read a second book, but it ended so nicely, I don't see the point. So I think I'm just gonna leave it at this. Yeah, so I'm a little annoyed it took me so long to read the book. I just put it off forever because I'd never heard anyone talking about it, but I really did enjoy it. Okay, then I have 2 ebooks that I read, and I never read ebooks, and the fact that I read 2 within 2 weeks is very impressive. It's something I want to get better at. So my Patreon pick for the month of November was the Legendary Inge. And that reminds me, I didn't pick one for December's TBR. So I'm going to grab my TBR jar. We're going to pick one more book from my December TBR because I was trying to keep it so small and then I forgot about it. And then we will get onto this review. So for the last few months, I've been picking a book that my patrons have been suggesting to me. They have been mostly like 4 or 5 star books, so just picking a random one that they've suggested. This one is Letters from the Lighthouse, and I've almost never heard of any of these books, so I gotta look this one up. So it looks like this might be middle grade historical fiction. The cover is cute. It was published in 2017. It says, February 1941. After months of bombing raids in London, 12-year-old Olive and her little brother Cliff are evacuated to the Devon coast. The only person with 2 spare beds is Mr. Ephraim, the local lighthouse keeper. But he's not used to company, and he certainly doesn't want evacuees. Desperate to be helpful, Olive becomes his post girl, carrying secret messages, as she likes to think of letters, to the villagers. But Olive has a secret of her own. Her older sister, Suki, went missing in an air raid, and she's desperate to discover what happened to her. And then she finds a strange coded note which seems to link Suki to Devon and to something dark and impossibly dangerous. So that sounds really good. I just got to figure out how to get my hands on that, and then I will be adding that to my TBR. Yeah, I think there was, I don't know, the success rate has been really high for my Patreon picks. They just seem to know my reading tastes, I guess. Okay, so back to the Legendary Inge. 5 stars. Great recommendation. So it is a fantasy. I don't know if it's really categorized as YA. It's definitely like lighter on the fantasy compared to some other books. So it's medieval fantasy, and the first chapter is so fun. So we are with this monster. He's terrorizing the castle. He's kind of like picking a person to eat each night, it seems like. But he can't be defeated by metal or magic. And the guards, the castle guards, chase him into the woods, and he ends up coming, the monster, ends up coming across a girl who has a wooden sword, and she kills him because it's a wooden sword and not metal. And they take this girl to the castle, to the king, and say, this is who finally defeated this monster. And she's dressed in her brother's clothes and has just cut her hair and stuff. So the king mistakes her for a boy and says, I'm going to adopt you, you're going to be my son, and you're going to marry my daughter. And she goes, I can't do that because like I'm a girl. And he doesn't like to be told he's wrong. So he just says, nope, you're my son, this is what's happening. And everybody has to go along with it. Nobody is allowed to speak against the king or dire consequences. So she is stuck in this castle pretending to be the son of this king, and meanwhile other things are going on. And I just really enjoyed it. It did not take me long to read at all. I was a little disappointed it wasn't part of a series, but I do want to read more books by the author because I really enjoyed that. So great recommendation there. And then I read Ode to a Nobody. So this is coming out December 6th, I think. This is a NetGalley arc. It is a middle grade free verse book, and our main character is in 8th grade and really realizing, I think, that her best friend is a jerk, and her parents are having troubles, their marriage is in trouble. And then while that's all going on, a tornado comes through her neighborhood, and she's really just trying to figure out like who she really is and what this tornado has taken away and what it has given her. And it is, I don't know, she is also doing like a poetry unit kind of in her one class, and I love poetry, so I think I loved it a lot for that. But I gave this book 5 stars as well. Plus it has one of the most gorgeous covers I've ever seen, so it's on my wish list because I really enjoyed the book, really enjoyed the contents, and love the cover. So it's like the perfect mashup. Okay, so this was part Bookmas stuff, part reading recap, and part TBR. Hopefully December will flow a little bit better. We'll just take it as it is. I'm really excited for Bookmas. Thank you to everyone who's been wanting to join in the Read Your Bookshelf challenge. I love all the comments I've been getting there, and thanks so much for being here, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you.